Welcome to Microsoft Mechanics. Coming up on the show, we're going to explore the security across your email and endpoints with a unified advanced threat protection experience across Office and Windows. We look at the spectrum of defenses across known and unknown attacks, including the filters in place to stop known threats in real time, near real-time threat removal ahead of broad impact, and the discovery, investigation, containment, and response to advanced threats that make it through all prior defenses. So I'm joined today by Heike Ritter from the Windows Client team. Welcome.
Freut mich. Great to be back on the Mechanics.
So with advanced threat protection in Office 365 and Windows, our goal is really to stop or contain more sophisticated cyber attacks. And as you can see on the respective dashboards in Office 365, we add additional security by discovering and removing unsafe attachments and blocking traffic to unsafe hyperlinks or linked to files arriving in the body of emails.
And in Windows, if a threat lands on an endpoint, Windows Defender ATP collects behaviors to detect threats that might make it through email filters, the browser, antivirus, or other defenses. Using the Windows Defender ATP console then helps security operators investigate and understand the scope of a potential breach and contain and respond to threats to prevent or limit damage.
It's really great to see a unified approach for security across your endpoints and services that it's now possible.
That's right. And a few things were needed to happen to make that possible. We think about threats in two broad categories, known and unknown threats. And we are constantly improving the means to detect new threats. And at the heart of this intelligence collections is the Microsoft Intelligence Security Graph. We collect a vast amount of signals from more than 200 commercial and consumer services. Think about our email services, all the endpoints that update on a regular basis, all the authentications via Azure AD and Microsoft accounts, URLs and IPs we scan daily through our search engine Bing, and more signals, including third-party sources, are added every minute. We pass out specific security signals, and through machine learning and analytics, we can easily identify DDoS attacks and other attacks, phishing and spam and suspicious login, and so forth. This all informs the Microsoft Intelligence Security Graph, which helps us to quickly adapt to changing threats, deploy new defenses, and orchestrate remediation.
So for each information vector, we can also help one another. So, for example, if a malicious process is first discovered in Windows Defender ATP, that intelligence can be passed through the security graph into Office 365 ATP, so we can block subsequent emails that might have that malicious code. Also, similarly, on the Office 365 side, we can communicate our intelligence back through the graph into Defender ATP, so we can enhance its detection capabilities.
Yeah, and unknown are becoming known every second to increase the overall security level.
Right, so let's start by walking through Office 365 ATP and show you how that works in action. So here I'm logged in as Ben Walters. I've received a mail with an attachment from Adele Vance. Now, safe attachments actually in Office 365 ATP was able to block it and give me a message as to why it was blocked. But this email is really ambitious in that it gives me links to a file hosting service for those same files. But now with URL detonation, we can even block those linked to files using Office 365 ATP. Let me hop over into the admin experience, because here I can go into the dashboard and actually see all of these different activities right here through the Security and Compliance Center reporting dashboard. I have things like DLP policies, my ATP message disposition, top senders and recipients of malicious files. All of those activities and things are here right at my fingertips. Now, while these defenses will prevent most threats from hitting users, we know that threats are constantly evolving. And for protection of things that might hit your endpoints eventually, Windows Defender ATP comes in.
That's right. Let's have a look at an actual attack and how Windows Defender ATP detects those attacks.
Okay.
On the left here, you can see our hacker at work. And on the right, you will see Jonathan, our victim. Jonathan sees an email he's expecting. He opens the attachment and enables a macro. Unknown to him, the macro communicates with a command and control server and downloads and runs code in memory. So the attacker now finds out that he has not enough privileges, so he runs a kernel-level exploit, leveraging a vulnerable driver on the system to gain access to the system token. And now he applies this system token to Word, and then also injects code into SVV host, which is a trusted process, and he enters stealth mode. And then from there, he sees what are the delegations available for this token, what is the network looking like, what are the groups, and what are different machines that he could probably move to then expand on the network. He's using now in the next step PowerShell remoting with Jonathan's credentials and moves to another machine. So on the other machine, you can see he uses again PowerShell remoting and also communicating to the command and control server again, downloads malicious code in memory, and then gain persistent on this machine as well.
And we can see there with procmon running that neither of the user was aware of that attack, neither the person receiving the mail or Jay on his second machine. But how does Windows Defender ATP actually help detect and contain it?
So with the Creators Update, we brought many new detection capabilities with it, and those are some of them, like in-memory and kernel-based attacks. So let me show you how this actually looks like from a security investigation perspective.
Okay.
Imagine you are a security operator and you have a SIEM system, so you can connect Windows Defender ATP and get alerted, or you can also get alerted via emails on alerts. Mm-hmm. So looking at the dashboard, I can see many, many alerts already, and one especially is on John's machine. It's a high severity alert, and I think I want to start here. I click on Jonathan's machine and be on the machine timeline. So everything started here with a vulnerable driver, was loaded. It was not the attack, but it was used in the attack. So, and then abnormal code, privilege escalation, process inject, and so on. So by selecting one of the alerts, the timeline down here brings me back in time for when this attack happened and also marks the associated events. I will start, as I said, with the red alert. So the related event to this was WinWord, the access token was modified. By expanding the view, you get the entire process tree for this event. And also we have a new details pane, which shows you even more details. In this case, the previous integrity level was medium, and now the new integrity level is system. And those are all the additional privileges that got added. Mm-hmm. So another alert when we go down in time was abnormal code execution here was observed. So if I click on the related event, for instance, I can see again the entire process tree of the memory allocation. Another thing that I would highlight here was the cross-process injection that we saw in the attack, where Word injected into SCV host. And if I click on this, I can actually see here inject into the process. So we saw already in the events that Outlook started Word, and from there was a file involved. So WinWord opened this specific email here. So let's go back in time a little bit to find actually the event that we observed when Outlook saved this attachment. Okay. And further down here, you can see Outlook saved an attachment to disk. By expanding this event, I get all the details about this specific email here already right there displayed in Windows Defender ATP console. And guess where this comes from?
And that's information that's coming in from Exchange Online.
Exactly. So with Office 365 ATP, if a customer has both solutions, can connect those solutions together and already get displayed some of the information that we don't know because we don't look at emails.
Right. And the power here is that Windows Defender ATP actually detected the attack. It can pass that info again on the Intelligent Security Graph, and then Office 365 ATP can actually use that detection logic to block subsequent mails that will further deliver that throughout the organization or organizations broadly that are using Office 365.
Exactly. So if I click on more details, it's exactly what happens. So I can see in the Threat Explorer here that I had more recipient actually. So there was a targeted attack, not only to Jonathan, 2 others got this email, but because of the security intelligence graph, it got blocked from 2 other mailboxes. So, but anyways, I will probably check out those machines to see if the attackers found a different way to get on those machines. Obviously, they were targeted. Okay. So let's go back and investigate the machine a little further from Jonathan. I would like to look at another alert that we saw. It was a suspicious remote shell. And if I click on this event, I can see that PowerShell communicated with an external IP address. Unknown to me, this email address, I want to learn more about it. Mm-hmm. So I click on it and let's see what we know about it. All the different events that we saw on various machines that are onboarded to the service are all displayed on the same page. And then if I go back in time and we remember the attack happened in February the 6th, I can see that 2 machines actually communicated with this IP address and also the process. So Jay Hardy was also a victim. JD's machine communicated with this IP, so I want to go on JD's machine now and see what else happened. I can see that all these alerts are actually under Jonathan Walcott's user account, but on Jay Hardy's machine. So I think what a security operator would do now next is isolating those machines. So Jay's machines and Jonathan machines. Those are new capabilities with the creators update as well. So I can click on action and I can isolate a machine, which would now disconnect this machine from the network, but leaves a channel open back to the Windows Defender ATP console so that the investigator can do additional investigation, download a forensic package, and all of this.
But is there any way or anything I can do to actually block his account?
So not from this console, but Microsoft Advanced Threat Analytics, for instance, we're working on an integration here. So let me show you one of the upcoming features. If I click on more information, I get directed immediately to Microsoft ATA, which shows me additional information, what ATA knows about this user, all the abnormal resources that the user is being used or abnormal computers, and from there I can take action.
And we have a whole show dedicated to advanced threat analytics that was on Microsoft Mechanics a few months back, so check that out to learn more. So as we saw here, we can feed back and protect you across endpoints, services, and even identities like we saw through the integration with ATA using the Microsoft Intelligent Security Graph. Now moving back to Office 365, we've recently announced Office 365 Threat Intelligence. Now this is going to provide you visibility not only into trends within your tenant, but also trends across the ecosystem. So here in the threat dashboard, I can see things like recent alerts, attack origins, a heat map. In the Threat Explorer view, I can also filter down by detection technology within my own tenant. Here I'm going to use ATP detonation. When I perform that filter, I see all the different activities filtered by ATP detonation. Now, this is actually also looking at things like antivirus and reputation for some of the links that we're detecting as they come in through email.
That's right. And all of this information feeds back into the Microsoft Intelligent Security Graph so that we can collectively improve our defenses.
And it's really great to see that we have all multiple layers of intelligence and the visibility through our tools across endpoints and the services to continually strengthen the overall security level. For Office 365 ATP and Windows Defender ATP, you can learn more and sign up for trials linked below. And thanks for joining us today for this overall review of both of these technologies working together. And also keep watching Microsoft Mechanics for the latest tech updates across Microsoft, and we'll see you soon.